Hello, this is Kevin Shortell, National Instructor for Note School. I have a very interesting case study for you today on a non-performing note. This property is the collateral for a note and a mortgage, and the folks who lived in this home were simply unable to make their payments because of a job loss. Well, they're still living in the home. They still want to stay in the home. They're just looking for the lender to work with them. Well, the lender's a bank, and the banks, quite frankly, today are not interested in getting these notes performing again. They simply don't have the personnel. They simply don't have the time to do it. So they're packaging up these non-performing loans and selling them. Okay, so one of our students bought the non-performing note on this owner-occupied home and did a quick background research on this, as we always do. We start with a lot of free research, and then if we have to dig deeper, we can always get boots on the ground. So this one showed on Zillow that the property's worth about $34,000 and it would rent for $537 per month. ePraisal.com came in at $55,000, as you can see there. Another website that we use is the Realtor Property Resources. That came in at $45,000, but you can see with their AVM confidence, 1 star out of 5 means they just didn't have enough data to feel really confident about that valuation. And then Home Games put the property value at $39,000. So when you start to see a range of values such as this, that's an indicator that, you know what, we really need to get some boots on the ground out there. We need a second opinion of value on this property so we can establish that. It's very important as a non-performing note buyer to establish value and price. All right, value of the underlying collateral, in this case, the single family home, and the price that you're paying for that non-performing note. We also look at what other risk potential. So the valuation we can nail down, we can get an idea of for free on the internet, enough of an idea to say, you know what, I got to get somebody else out there to take a look. But we also look at other circumstances. What's the crime in the area? Now this one has a mixed crime. You've got some green in there, which indicates that it's safer. There's less crime. You've got red in there that indicates, well, there's higher crime in that area. Now, in this particular neighborhood, although you see some red in there, you see some pinkish color in there, the neighborhood itself, as you go around through Google Earth and that sort of thing, looked pretty good. The real estate agent that went out to take a look at the property said, you know, the neighborhood doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look like there's that much crime. So the student, his name is Larry here, he felt that that was within his risk tolerance. He was okay with that. And by the way, if you're not okay with that, that simply means, well, you might pass on that particular note and move on to something else. So Larry felt this was fine, and he proceeded after he got better valuation of the property from the real estate agent and was able to really communicate with them as to what their opinion of the neighborhood was. All right, so the property ends up being valued at about $40,000. The note that he bought on this property was $8,555. That's it. That's a substantial discount. In other words, if I propose this to you, would you be willing to pay $8,555 to own a property that's worth $40,000? Well, of course, anyone would, right? Now, we're going to have other costs in there, right? If we have to go through foreclosure and that sort of thing, I get it. But boy, is he buying right. Try to buy a property that's worth $40,000 at an auction today for $8,000. It's not going to happen, right? So because this was a non-performing note, the property wasn't for sale, he just bought the debt on this property. So now with his investment of $8,500, he started to reach out to the folks who lived in the house. Are they interested in staying? Are they willing to sign a deed in lieu? What's their scenario? Is it possible where they can start to make the payments again? So there's that reach out. Now, Larry doesn't do that himself, and neither would you. If you bought this note for $8,500, it might be in a completely different state than you live in. Well, guess what? We have vendors that can do all of that stuff. So he hired a door knocking company. The door knocking company went out there, and they said the wife's not too happy. She was very combative. We tried to explain to her that we were simply reaching out to try to see if we could help them stay in their home. But you got to remember, something happened in their lives. They have a tendency to blame the lender. And of course, We didn't create the note, right? We didn't do any of that. We're trying to help them out of this scenario. But unfortunately, the door knocker said she's not really cooperative. In fact, she's a little bit combative. So we have to find another approach. Well, Larry had his attorney draw up a demand letter to let them know that they were serious. You know, sometimes these folks have lived in their home without making payments for 2-3 years. We want to work with people, but at some point in time, you don't deserve or get to stay in your home for free forever. You just don't. So we're trying to work this out and enable them to do that, but sometimes it takes a little bit more than a door knocker out there, and sometimes you might have to get an attorney involved, and that's what they did. And what they do in that particular state in Indiana is they set up a settlement conference, and the settlement conference is between the borrower and the lender, in this case, Larry's company. So they got together at this settlement conference. And by the way, from the time he bought the note until they got to the settlement conference was about 4 months. Okay, so after he bought the note, tried to get the people to start talking, sent the demand letter, they set up a settlement conference, perfect. 4 months have gone by. Larry had a servicing company, in this case Madison, come up with what is the balance that they would need to come up with to reinstate this loan. And as you can see circled there, it's just over $25,000. So at the settlement conference, Larry's representative was there, the same attorney who had sent the funds, and they have a housing counselor there to try to work with the two parties to come up with a solution that both parties can agree upon. Well, the suggestion in this case was hardest hit funds. And it's logical, it was perfect, that's really what they can do. It just took getting these people to the table to understand that Larry was here to help them. The bank, the previous lender may not have been, but Larry is here to help them. In fact, the government has a program in Indiana, and by the way, 17 other states, that people can apply and get these funds. And what these funds will do is will pay their arrearage account. Now, the arrearage account is all that back payments that they've missed. So if these folks haven't made a payment in 3 years, you can imagine how that starts to accrue, and then there's penalties on top, and it can get substantial. These funds will pay that off. They will also make these folks mortgage payment for some point in time in the future. It goes anywhere right now from 6 months to 5 years, believe it or not. Okay? So this is what was suggested from the housing counselor. Now these people got it. The wife, who was at one point in time combative, now understands, hey, there is something out there that we can do and stay in our home, and Larry's company's not the bad guy. They're trying to work with us on this one. Okay, so where was Larry on this? He bought the note, once again, for $8,555. His legal cost was at $2,000 at this point. So he is all in, if you will, at $10,555. Now remember, all of that is backed by a property, a single-family home that is worth about $40,000. The hardest hit fund agreed to pay $23,640. Now, of course, that money went to Larry's company. All right, so if you own the note, the non-performing note, and hardest hit funds pays, it goes to you. To what? To catch them up on their loan. So the state of Indiana, through their hardest hit fund, paid the $23,640 to catch them up on their loan. Now, if you recall, the actual number that they were in arrearage was just over $25,000. But Indiana said, here's as much as we'll pay on that. And Larry simply had to agree. Now, I don't think he would have turned that down, right? So Larry had to forgive the extra couple of grand in there, right? The $25,000 he was owed, he accepted $23,640. Of course he's going to do that, and so would you, because he only has a $10,555 investment in this. He's already doubled his money, but there's more. They also agreed to pay $389 for 15 months. In other words, the state of Indiana said, through this hardest hit funds, we will make these folks mortgage payment for the next 15 months. and it was $389. That comes to an additional $5,843 that goes to Larry's company, automatically wired into his account on the first of the month every single month. But you know what? He also still owns the note. The note has an unpaid balance of $30,320. Hopefully, for these folks, within those 15 months, they are able now to start picking up that payment again. Maybe it was a job loss and now they've got a job and they can start to make those payments. And they're incentivized to do so at this point in time because they no longer have that $25,000 balance in arrearage accounts over their head. That's been paid off for them. So hopefully they can make those payments. But if they can't, what position is Larry in? If they can't start making those payments after 15 months, well, guess what? Larry then will probably have to do either cash for keys and tell them, you know what, it's time to move on. You simply can't afford it. And he'll give them some money to go ahead and move out and won't punish their credit anymore with having to foreclose. He'll simply do a deed in lieu with them. They'll probably agree to something like that. Most folks do. If not, you know what? Once again, at some point in time, they have to start making payments. They can't live in their house for free forever. They've been given all this money to catch up. It's supposed to get them to the point where they can now stand on their own 2 feet. If they can't, Larry could still have to foreclose on the property. And again, the property's worth $40,000. So Larry's investment of $8,555 with additional $2,000 in business expenses for the legal cost brought his total to $10,555. His return, $23,640 lump sum up front, plus an additional $5,843, which will be paid out over 15 months. And then hopefully they still start making the payments at that point in time. If Larry had to modify the note, he could do that and continue to make a further return on his investment, or he would end up with the property. So hopefully things work out for these folks. They're able to make the payments and they stay in. Larry's happy, they're happy, and the government helped out. By the way, the government has to spend this money. Every state that was given these funds has until December 2017 to spend all of it, because if they don't, it all goes back to the federal government. Now, what state government is going to want to be known as the government that sent the money back? Instead of spending it on their citizens in their state, they decided to send it back to the federal government. None of them. I don't think any politician would want to be near anything like that. So these states will spend that money. And you know what? There are billions of dollars left. How much of that's going to go to you? Depends how active you get in the note business. Hope you enjoyed this case study. Look forward to sending you another one.